My name is AK Akin Williams. There is this saga in Koshofe that the present local government chairman, in persons of Moyesore Ogunlewe, underperformance, allegedly. Do you know why he has been underperforming? Who is responsible to his underperformance? Are we going to say it's inexperience, or I don't care attitude, or maturity? Are we going to say it is caused by the leaders of Koshofe? Are we going to say it is because of non-involvement of people of Koshofe in governance? Do you want to know where everybody is at fault? Come. It will interest you that if you are blaming the chairman, Moyesore, you should also blame yourself. You should also blame the leaders of the APC in Koshofe. I should also be blaming myself for not really involving. Then the populace should also be blamed for non-participating in politics. So I want to leave you with this song that says, Gbogbo wa la lọ́wọ́ ń bẹ, gbogbo wa la lọ́wọ́ ń bẹ, bí Koshofe ṣe dà yìí o, gbogbo wa la lọ́wọ́ ń bẹ, èmi lọ́wọ́ ń bẹ, Moyesore lọ́wọ́ ń bẹ, leaders APC Koshofe lọ́wọ́ ń bẹ, gbogbo wa la lọ́wọ́ ń bẹ, bí Koshofe ṣe dà yìí o, gbogbo wa la lọ́wọ́ ń bẹ. You want to know how you are involved, how I am involved, how the leadership, the chairman of the local government is at fault. You want to know? Come with me and hear this interview that a renowned journalist from TVC, in presence of Okoyori, the interview he granted with the former chairman of Amuwo Odofin, in presence of Ayodele Adewale, and sit down very well. Irrespective of the opposition, you will learn today. Come.
Iyori Folani. Okay, our guest this morning is Comrade Ayodele Adewale. He's a former chairman of Amuwo Odofin local government, and I guess you can begin to imagine why he is our guest, because it's what's in the news. Direct release of funds to local government, the 774 local government councils. And so Comrade Honorable Adewale is here to help us understand it. So a fine morning to you, first of all.
Good morning, sir. Happy New Year.
Indeed, compliments of the season. Okay, all other things being equal, this should be taken off in January, which leaves us precious few days to the end of January to be within that idea. Now, some news items say that the federal government has set up a team to directly distribute funds to the 774 local government councils. But I didn't quite understand the matter of a team. And since you are here, I said, okay, I'll bounce that off Comrade and see what he makes of it. What team? There was a time when we were speaking about the funds would be released to, the central bank. It can't be a commercial bank. Could you clarify that whole area, please? What you think is going on here?
Well, if the federal government have talked about things about structure, right, to oversee the disbursement and the free flow of funds without any hiccups, I don't see anything wrong in that. And basically, these are jobs of the agency through the Accountant General's department and the Ministry of Finance and all of that. So I think they have done very well to put these structures well firmed up to carry out this matter.
Now, since you've, as they say colloquially, you've been there, done that, you've been chairman of a local council, local government council, what would be the big difference between the way it was done then and your time in office goes back to something like almost
2008
exactly
to 2014.
It's been quite a while.
It's 10 years plus now.
So it's good. And the system you were using at that time is the system that has come to be affected now by this matter about, you know what, let there be autonomy. Let them not be under the thumb of any other authority, whether it is the governor or whatever. So what's the big difference between then and now? What are the things that we need to look out for? Because at the time, when you were in office and after, until the situation we have on our hands now, if you didn't for some reason, I don't imagine that you ever did, but if you didn't for some reason have a plan, a budget in place, and nobody could ask you, what would be the difference between that system and the system that will now have to hold sway?
The system here is that they are getting money directly from the Federation account through the CBN, right? In our system, we were getting it through the commercial banks.
Okay.
And of course, the commercial banks will definitely have some charges when your funds are lodged in. So those charges now are taken off, right, and added to the monies that will be coming into the local government, which is a gain for the local government and all that. But again, when it comes in, the CBN will be, the government also will be expecting that the funds, as is given, will also be plowed into developmental matters. But the question is, are all the local government ready to move at a certain time, universally, in terms of having a well-structured budget, right, that will create a lot of opportunities and development in their various constituencies? Not that these monies will come, will be kept somewhere, right? If the money is transferred to the local government, they have the right to put it in any bank that they so desire, but it is expected that as much as these monies are dropping, automatically it will go into various sectors of development so that loose ends and gaps will be closed in order to forestall any corruption within that system, or to hold the money, right, while the people are still hoping that things will happen. So that is why I said that I hope all the local government, the 774 local government, are ready to deploy, you understand, using their budget instrument.
I don't know if the fact that you just mentioned, even though I had mentioned 774 before, but you just mentioned 774 local governments, it just occurred to me that Lagos has a different arrangement. There are, apart from local government councils, there are also development areas, right? So how is that going to work? Just to touch that in passing before I go on to other questions.
Well, in Lagos State, they have created additional 37 local government areas. But for political convenience, they decided to call it developing LCDAs, yes, developing their areas, authorities, you understand, and all of that. But the Lagos State government, through a referendum, as at then, carried out all the structural inputs in the Nigerian Constitution that give right to state to create local government as they deem it fit, right? They've done all that. Now, the gap there is that they went to the National Assembly, right, to now call for funding of these structures that have been created, right? And that was where the issue lies. The issue is not that Lagos State cannot create local government, or they have not rightly created local government. Those babies have been born through a normal process, right? And those babies have been living, you understand? And in funding of local government by the Nigerian Constitution, there are three sources. You have the federal, you have the state, and you have the internally generated revenue. Now, those local governments already are generating their funds. The states already are plowing funds as enshrined in the Nigerian Constitution to give a certain amount of percentage of their funds that are generated through the local government. Now, it is expected that the federal government also will create a fiat to feed those local governments from the federal allocation. That is where the National Assembly need to complete that process.
Okay. So, by way of some further enabling legislation?
Definitely. You have to create a law, right, to do that, because Nigerian Constitution only recognizes 774. So for any expansion, the Nigerian Constitution, in that particular clause, will have to be reworked to accommodate those expansions.
But as it is now, since that is it's conditional upon the future, how will those development authorities or development areas, I believe they're called, how will they be sponsored now?
Already they have two streams of funding.
Okay.
They have the IGR, the internal generated revenue. They only need to increase their capacity in order to generate more revenue. And many of them are strategically placed, especially those in Etiosa, you understand, in Amuwodo, in Alimosho, and other areas. Some of them are also strategically placed because of the endowment that they have within their jurisdiction. So you only need them to be very ingenious in order to create additional source of revenue. Now, you also have the Lagos State government that has the right to feed them with the fund that is generated by Lagos State in a certain percentage, which they are doing. So these two sources of fund is enough for them to survive and provide amenities for their constituency.
With the local government chairman, the way we go about our elections here, we see elections of local government elections, and the way it goes is the way it goes. It is sort of seen that the ruling party in the state does very well in elections, and it is felt that the governors there are keeping an eye on things. But now that we have this, even if that were still to be the case, there is a difference where whoever is the local government chairman doesn't have to ask anybody for anything. Funds come to him directly, which has never been the case. Do you think that's going to make a big difference in terms of how the work proceeds?
I would move away a bit from your holistic statement saying that it had never been the case, right? With due respect. In Lagos State, we had something different. We have always gotten our revenue directly from the federal account, right? The system that we had is that we have a pool where the funds come in and the first line charges are removed as agreed by the local government, right? In some states, you have the governors taking over those funds and deciding what amount of quantum of fund that will go into this local government.
In some states.
In some states.
Lagos accepted.
Lagos is
not part
of that arrangement. If it was so, we wouldn't have recorded the milestones of development that we have achieved in Lagos as against many states that are bound. So we don't have that. Moving away from that, I would say that President Tinubu administration have done very well to have approached the Supreme Court in order to get that fiat to plow that funds directly to all the local government in Nigeria. It also behoves on those local government headsmen to make sure that those funds are judiciously spent for the benefit of their people and development of their constituency. I saw that about 300 something billion, right, will be released. That's a huge amount of money. So if that money is judiciously spent, you can imagine the pressure that will be removed from the neck of the federal government and the state government. And if the three structures of government work harmoniously, right, to deploy funds appropriately, like the federal is doing right now, then a lot of this economic hardship will be a thing of the past.
Would have been addressed. As you said, everything depends on proper planning. Something else you said earlier, I'm not sure whether we had started or it was when we were speaking before coming on the program. There's this matter of budgeting. There has to be a very clear idea of, one, what is intended to be done, and then the other question I wanted to ask you connected with that is, so where is the oversight in that, the approval for the budgets and all of that? Is it amongst the local government ruling councils themselves?
The local government is a government structure. It's just a miniature of the larger structure as a federation, right? The local government has all the components that the federal government has and that of the state, right? Now, the local government have right to create its own budget in accordance to its immediate needs. Social reality must come into play, right? Now, when this budget is created, right, it behoves on the leadership of the local government to make sure that the budgetary provisions are strictly followed. And in strictly following this provision, you must make sure, as it is right now, that capital expenditure overweigh recurrent expenditure.
Okay.
That is the best way to grow. Because when you do that, you are going to also create stream of fund generation into your structure in order to increase on your capacity. But if you spend more money on recurrent, there will never be growth. So you must make sure that in the capital project, infrastructure like roads, like energy, power, right? Educational infrastructure, health infrastructure, and all of these things, social infrastructures come into being. These create jobs, reduce unemployment, remove security to a large amount, and all of that. And
insecurity.
Insecurity, sorry, and a sense of direction for movement.
Well, indeed. That is, of course, it's related to another question I was going to ask. You, probably better than most, have seen the caliber, and we talked about this a long time ago, the caliber of people that do indeed end up in local government councils. Now, this might be a delicate one, but going by what we see, not just in local government councils, even in the National Assembly, people might get the impression that maybe not every last one of the honorable gentlemen and ladies that end up there are actually fitting for office. So what I'm getting at here is, do you think, in your experience, that we actually in the local government councils need to also retrain and become much better administrators? It's gone beyond a prestige thing that, you know, in your environment, in your circles, you're now an honorable. Beyond that, yes, that one nobody can, I mean, it's your right if indeed you did make it. But how do we make sure that people actually now are suitably empowered to deliver along the lines that, one, the president who initiated all of this, that take the money directly to these people, stop disturbing them, and then the generality of the public will feel more confident that these people are fit for office?
Well, if we just talk about social realities, you see, every community, society determine the kind of leadership they get, right? If the people are determined to have a leadership that is more concerned about their well-being and development, you would see these exponential realities happen. Or if the people are not concerned about political happenings around them, because political system determines economic system. You understand? You're talking about power. So if you don't get the right people there, if you're not concerned about who gets there, and you allow a neophyte get there, or somebody that does not have that sense of ownership, you know, true ownership of its people to assist them to develop their capacities, then you are going to have a lot of issues, right? So I would advocate that people be more concerned about political happenings around them, right? The same energy they put into firming up their economic activity, they should also put it into who governs them, right? And when you do that, you can dictate the kind of development you have.
Okay.
And when you also elect them into office, don't just go back. No, be more concerned about the making of the budget, be more concerned about the implementation of this budget, be more concerned about accountability. It is very, very important. So if we put